And
Hello,
hey, I want
beautiful.
to
Happy
I want to
Valentine's Day. How are you?
thank you. Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
So good to
Happy
see you.
Happy
First of all,
Valentine's
I am
Day.
so sorry to keep you waiting. It's a little bit of a crazy day, so I feel like I'm running from a meeting to meeting. So thank you for your patience and thank you for looking absolutely amazing and bringing your beautiful smile here with me. I'm actually very excited about this call because I feel like we never had a proper one-to-one time, and
No,
you
we
are
haven't.
such a big part of our community and our family. So I just really feel like it's an honor and pleasure to have this call with you today. And congratulations for being one of the winners. How are you feeling?
Oh, I was really excited. I totally didn't expect that. I absolutely totally did not expect that. I was like, yeah, I had a place where I fell down and I had to come back and pick back up. And I felt really good about doing that. I was like, you know what? It's okay. I'm doing this because this is important for me to do, not because, it's not the external I want to win a prize. It's like I want to do this for myself and my family and other people in my life. So yeah, I was thrilled, and it's between my husband and my oldest daughter who I'm going to give it to. We haven't quite figured that out yet. I offered it to him first, but I also told him, it's like, if you're not totally committed to this, you don't have to do it. I'll give it to somebody else. But he said he's going to do it, but we'll see. I want to hold him to the fire a little bit about that. So make sure he
Good.
really wants it, because it's like I told him we wouldn't even be together if it wasn't for this program, and that is the
Wow.
truth. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow. That's amazing.
yeah,
Well, that's the thing. And I feel like when you do something for you, not to win, not for any other, not for any other reason, but when you do it for you because you want to be better, that's when, everything else shows up because you do it with a different energy. You do it from the
yeah,
heart, you do it for yourself. And I think
right.
that's when results then show up. Right. So I know that you have done this interview before. Of course, it's featured. I've seen it. So your questions this time going to be slightly different because honestly, we have so many people, like especially brand new members that come and say, okay, like what happens after, like 6 weeks of LMA? Is that where it ends? Like what's going on? And I feel like you are truly the perfect person, to share what happens and why you keep on coming back and how is it different to be on the program when you went for it, more than once, more than twice even. So on that
Yeah.
note, Marianne, my lovely, first of all, thank you for being here with me. Really,
Oh,
really,
you're
really
welcome.
appreciate that. So tell me, what keeps you coming back and how is it different going for LMA, second time around, third time around? What's that experience like?
Okay, so when I did it the first time, uh, I was at, like many people, I was at a low point, and I was like, I had a series of failed relationships, and knew that it had to be about me. It's like, your best thinking got you here, right?
Yeah.
So I did it, and the most important week for me was week 2, and week 3, actually, because it's like, so what is your true goal? And other people are like, I want to affect millions and these big things, and it's like, no, I want to break a generational pattern, and if
Mm,
I do that, then that is going to reverberate through my own life and through the lives of everybody in my family and everybody I touch, because you cannot take people where you aren't going yourself.
yeah.
Okay. So then, of course, it's like a layer of an onion. You get one thing and it was better, but you do, and when you do it again, you learn more. And I went through LMA, I think about 5 times in a row,
Wow.
and different weeks would speak to me. Week 2 and week 4 would bounce back and forth, because
Uh-huh.
week 3 stayed kind of the same, and then week 5 wasn't speaking to me. Okay, I
Uh-huh.
was like, I've done a lot in my life, and I have these further dreams and everything, but it wasn't really speaking to me that hard like it does for a lot of people. So I did about 5 times in a row, and then it was like, and then it got to a place where, you know what, I got to back off and look at things from a different angle,
Mm,
because and also I felt like to a certain extent there was maybe a little bit of a tension hound going on. It's like, I get, because when I get on camera, I do light up, and it just freaks me out, because I'm like, you know what, I don't think I'm like that in my regular life so much, but I remember I was like that when I was a little kid. I do know that
uh-huh.
much. So I backed off for a while, and then kept working on this relationship stuff. And then Rick and I got married in July. And it's the same person that, you know, I was having problems with and everything. And we got married in July, and then now we're living together. And so it comes to the fore when you're actually living with somebody. You know, I was with him, but I would go home, you know,
Mm,
and it's like, so this control mechanism thing is like, I can just be in charge, you know, and control is my biggest probably saboteur. And
mhm.
and so I really want to work on that because he can trigger me quicker than anybody else in the world. He can just like ding, he knows exactly, and I can do the same thing to him,
Yeah.
honestly. So there was that, and then I was like, I do want this abundance part now, and I know there's so much in that. I felt like there's so much in that week, and I wanted to dive into that. And this program is real. This is real, people. This is a true caring community that allows you to grow because everybody else in it wants to grow. And to me, that's the biggest thing. It's like it's the perfect place to grow because everybody here is growth oriented. You know, you can have your normal people in your life, and they're not necessarily about growing,
Yeah.
right? But you got to have your people that are your inspirational people that you touch base with. And that to me is why I come back for the community and for, you know, the realness of you all, and because you guys are continuing to grow as well, and it's obvious. So that's what goes on for me, and that's why I keep coming back. Short story long, maybe. So
No,
yeah,
I love that. Well, first of all, congratulations. My goodness, this is huge. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Because I
thank
feel like,
you.
those are the things like sometimes like you make the changes and, like it changes your life a little bit, but sometimes like those small little tweaks over the time create a change that changes your life. And not just yours now, it's you and your husband. It's two of you.
Yeah,
In it,
yeah.
oh my God, that's what, oh, big wishes from the entire team because I'm sure like once they find out, they're going to be thrilled about it. So first of all, just happy to have you in our family. We always say this is not a community, this is not a program, this is a family. We
Yeah.
are in this for one another. So for you, Marianne, what would you say has been maybe the biggest lesson that you learned about yourself through the process that maybe surprised you or you didn't know that was there, or you didn't know that about yourself or didn't suspect that it was part of you?
Okay. So when I look at that, what did I find out? Okay, so on an intellectual level, okay, on an intellectual level, you know, I've come to the place that everybody is okay a long time ago, but having that on an intellectual level and really feeling it is two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea that, you know, it's easy for me to do that for other people, to hold the space for other people, where inside myself it's like, yeah, I know that I'm really this beautiful being underneath, you know, the self identity label, that kind of thing. But to actually get to the place where I felt it
Mm,
has been a process, and I feel like that I was able to do that. And a story that I found that is not an LMA story, but maybe it will be one day. And I don't know if you know the story. Like, there apparently in some war at some point, there was the Burmese army was marching across Thailand and trashing everything and stealing everybody's treasures and killing them all. And they came to this temple, and of course they killed the monks and took the treasure, but
mm,
they didn't take this Buddha. It was a plaster Buddha. Okay, and it's
mm,
too big and it's heavy and it's made out of plaster. They left it alone, and it stayed like that for a couple hundred years. And then somebody decided that they want to move it. And then when they went to move it, the plaster cracked, and underneath it was 18 karat gold. And that story spoke to me so much. It's like our judgmental selves, our parts of ourselves where we're always criticizing, that constant survival brain voice is the plaster. And the 18 karat gold Buddha is who we really are.
yeah,
And I don't know, there was something in it, the idea that there's always you're defending, right?
yeah,
You're defending against the world, the people that are negative, or the constant negative news, or, you know, what's going on in society that you can't deal with. And that's the plaster. And underneath there's this Buddha.
yeah.
And that Buddha is very valuable. And that's that story isn't from LMA, but it's because of LMA that could even touch me at all. And if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love that. That's amazing. So I want to know, like in your life, the way that it works, because we always say with LMA, you get lifetime access to it and all of it. Like, so, and you said yourself, you've gone for LMA at least 5 times at this point. You went through it 5 times in a row. So what are those points when you decide to come back? Like, oh, okay, this is the time to go for LMA. Is it now for you like a routine thing? Or do you feel something inside of you that you feel like you need it? Like, what's that
This
process like?
this time it wasn't the first time. It was a series of I'm peeling an onion.
Yeah.
This and then I let it go for a while, and then as I came back this time, because I felt like I know that it's there, and I
Mhm.
know the community is real, and so this time it was like I need this, and I decided this what in November or so. It's like,
Uh-huh.
you know what, come January it'll be season 25, which like my first season was season 7. It's 2 and 5 equals 7. It's like the little numerology thing, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, this will be, and it starts in January just like it did then.
Yeah.
And I was like, this will be a good one for me to truly commit to and go through and do all the videos, because us doing the videos and things that makes you do the work,
Yeah.
and it makes you stay with the work every day. And I know that you don't have to do those, but to me, those are so valuable to do in that they really get you. And then you watch other people's, and other people come up with different things, and you're like, oh yeah, that's true too. And I just really feel like that. I felt like I needed to do it again, and I knew I would get something out of it because there had been a break, and I would look at it with fresh eyes, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I love that. So now then, for people who are watching this, they hear your story, they hear, how far you've come, and this is still, mid of the journey, maybe even just the beginning of it all. And they feel like, oh, I wish I had similar story. I wish I was as brave as Marianne. Like, what would you say to people that maybe they know that they want to change, they know that something needs to change, but they're too afraid maybe to come on board, or they feel skeptical to come on board? What would you say to that someone that's currently on the fence?
To someone that's on the fence, I would say is like anything, the biggest, best experiences in my life have always come from feeling afraid, and I'm going to do it anyway.
Mm,
That when you go ahead, I'm about to cry. When you go ahead and do that thing that you were so scared of, and then you find out that not only was it a good idea, but it was just so much better than you could have imagined, because that's what happens. You go ahead and take that leap. And it's like the worst case scenario is like, oh, okay, but that if you put your heart, you just go for it and do it, and come from your heart with it. Where you land is just amazingly better than you could have imagined that you would land. It's so do it, because if you're not a little, what is it? If you're not a little bit afraid to do something, then it's probably not worth doing. And that's the truth. It's like the biggest, scariest things I've ever done. Those are the ones that ended up having the most value for me. That opened my life up. So I hope that makes sense.
yes. Oh, and that landed in my heart. Honestly, that's the thing. Like, I feel like when the words come from the heart, they land back in the heart as well. So, love that. And one last thing, Marianne, and this is not a question, this is just a freestyler. Is there anything that you feel that you want to share with people that are watching this? Maybe with your past self, like if you remember, like when you maybe was watching any of those videos, something that you feel like you want to share that comes from the heart, and that can be anything.
Okay, so we all have within us, like, to me, the little child, the one that is who we really are. And so if you would just get in touch with that, and what would that little child, that adventurous, wonderful little child who's just out there, like, wanting to explore the world, and you want to give that child an adventure. This is like an adventure of the heart. It's not necessarily an external adventure, go climb the highest mountain, or those kinds of things. It's an adventure from within, and those are can be just as exciting as anything that you go out and do in the world.